been a whole lot of trying, whole lot of crying, whole lot of telling me I should be trying to be like you, but I don't wanna be like you. Cause I could do better. I could do better. I could do better than that. And you should know better. You should know better. You should know better than that.
Y'all, welcome to another episode of the Late Bloomer Podcast. I'm your host, Aliyah Joye. And to be real, as this year comes to a close, I've realized how disappointed I've been. Not only disappointed in myself, but also disappointed in God, just because a lot of things that I thought would happen, starting out the year of 2024 did not happen. A lot of things that I thought would come forth never happened. And in that disappointment, I didn't want to bring that disappointment to the Lord, because that's the last thing you want to tell him. It's like, Lord, I'm disappointed in you. Lord, this hurts that none of this went my way, or all of the things. And I ended up reading Hannah's story in 1 Samuel. He brought me to her story, and I understood why once I started reading it, because Hannah was definitely a woman that knew disappointment well. Like, she wanted very badly to have a baby. She was looking at everyone else that had given birth. Even the woman that lived in her house, that was her husband's other wife, would always put in her face the thing that she missed out on having it. And she knew that infliction was because of the Lord. It literally says it over and over, because the Lord would not allow her to conceive, or because the Lord had made her barren. But in her disappointment, she only focused on the things that she didn't have and the things that didn't happen, right? She didn't focus on the things that were going good for her, like the fact that she had a husband that gave her double portions to sacrifice every year at the temple. And her husband had to kind of bring that to her attention. He was like, am I not more important to you than 10 sons, right? And when I read that verse, that hit me in the chest. Because it was like the Lord was asking me, am I not more to you than 10 husbands, than 10 things, than 10 promises, right? Being fulfilled. Am I not more to you? And the problem with that was that at that time, he wasn't enough for Hannah, right? The thing that Hannah wanted more than anything was a child. And so because we know her husband wasn't enough for her, we can also gather that God wasn't enough for her. So as she went to the altar and continuously cried out to him, and finally to the point where she battled depression, she wouldn't eat or drink. And she finally broke down and gave God her heart and gave him her disappointment. She finally had given him the thing that he wanted all along, was just her. He was like, the reason why I won't allow your womb to be open is because that would become your God, that child. So the moment she told God, if you give me this thing, I won't withhold it from you. I will give it back to you. That's when God then took the seat in the throne on her heart, right? She then put him in a place he always wanted her to be with him. And so because she could no longer be disappointed if it happened or not, because she gave that thing to the Lord fully, when it was fulfilled, she came through on her promise. It's no different than Abraham with his son Isaac. How he was like, Lord, he waited for that promise for a very long time. And when it came, God told him to give it back. The reason why he was willing and freely giving it back is because all the time he waited for it, he was content with just having God, even if that thing never came, right? And that's why God closed her womb. And he also made Abraham wait till he was about 100 years old to have his first son, his promised son. And so it was just very telling to me. And it was, if anything, me being disappointed in God on not coming through on certain things in the time and I thought, it was a reflection of where my heart posture was with him, right? Or a reflection of where my heart posture is with him and where he wants to get it. And I was even watching, as the holidays just passed, y'all, so I know y'all spent some time with your family and saw all of the holiday movies and had all the beautiful things happening. Well, me and my niece, I love her so much. She's my little bro bestie. But we ended up sitting down watching the Veronica's the Jingle Jangle movie. And I identified so much with his character because, he had lost his wife. He had got his invention stolen. He was basically Job. And he had lost hope. When his wife died, his daughter moved away. He had lost hope. And the main thing that made his factory run was magic, right? but it's only to those who believe. It's only because he believed that things actually happen. And he ended up having a granddaughter. I don't know if you heard the story or saw the movie. Please watch that movie. It's so beautiful. But he ended up having a granddaughter. And his daughter sent the granddaughter to him. And I really think the little girl was there to restore his hope and restore his belief in himself and his abilities, and also in magic. But in this case, we're going to say in the Holy Spirit, okay? Because it was very much like the Holy Ghost. But so he ended up receiving his granddaughter into his house, and he, made hard rules. He was a very hard man, bitter, hurt, and disappointed. And as she lived with him, she restored that back in him. She went upstairs into this little invention office, and there was a robot there. And that robot had collected dust and everything. But as her and the little boy was in that factory, in that room, where his old inventions were, the stuff he's forgotten about, the stuff he's lost hope in, that are now collecting dust, the robot came to life because someone that believed was in the room. And it rolled around the corner. And not only did it turn on and just repeat everything that she was saying back to it, they started floating. They started flying in the room. And as soon as Geronicus walked into the room, everybody fell. Everybody went down. The hope in the room went down. The belief in the room fell. And so the thing was just basically saying, you have to believe. Like they were singing a song. He was saying, basically, you have to believe, and this will be so. I will come to life. And when the grandfather walked in the room, everything died down. And the little girl, he was like, he was like, why are you in my stuff? You expect me to believe this thing got legs and walked over here to this new spot? That's not where I had it. And the little boy said, actually, no, it flew over there. And the little girl said, yes, it can fly if you believe. And in that moment, it's like God was restoring my hope. He said, yes, things will happen. My promises will come. The things you have been waiting on will be fulfilled and come into play and come into fruition. If you just believe, and not believe in the thing, but believe in me. Believe in the things I put in you. Believe in me completing my good work in you. Because the thing didn't work just because Geronicus believed. It was him believing in himself and in the things he was able to create in his inventions. Because he just told his granddaughter, I'm not an inventor. He lost his entire identity when all of his world crashed around him. So that's what the Lord has just been showing me. Like, and then another thing he's been showing me is like, it's okay to be disappointed, but don't sit and don't become comfortable in your disappointment, that you make it right to be that way. You know what I mean? Like you justify staying there, or you justify getting stuck. And me and my friend were just saying this, like she was talking about how she didn't want to receive joy. Like joy, when she was going through depression, joy was open and available to her. She just didn't want to receive it. And it hit me in the chest because I was like, that's been me. You've been giving me ways to smile, restoring my joy. But I've thought, I have a right to not receive it in this moment. And as crazy as that sounds, right? That sounds insane, especially when we're talking about the Lord. But in a way, my actions have been giving that. Like I have a right to feel the way I'm feeling and not receive your joy, right? And not receive the good things that's happening around me. And then that's arrogance as well, and entitlement, because he can very well not have those things happen. And while he's saying yes, I understand why you feel the discouragement and the disappointment, but I also want to restore you from feeling those things because I am doing a new thing. And I think that we have a hard time too. And what I had the hardest time with is like actually admitting to God that I was disappointed, actually telling him that, because I know that if I bring that to him, he was going to change it, right? But I was so comfortable in feeling it because that means I don't have to step out and do the things that you told me to do, because I know I'm going to just be disappointed again, right? And that hopelessness knocking at your door that makes you want to stay in that place. And so as I've given it to him, I now have joy. I now have excitement about what's to come. And that tinge of disappointment knocks on my door, and the enemy does try to parade stuff in front of your face that you don't have yet, or you haven't achieved, or that, the goals that you didn't meet, all the things, just like Penaniah was rubbing that in Hannah's face. Like, girl, you still don't got no kids. Ha 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 ha. Your husband giving you this, but look at this. Like the thing that is so small becomes so big. And the enemy's not done doing that to me. But me allowing God to restore my joy and restore my hope in him, and even returning back on my channel and doing all the things he's told me to do, it's just made me so hopeful. And now I can feel his spirit in how he's moving, and that I'm on the cusp of something. You know, it doesn't feel hopeless and like I'm going nowhere, I'm stuck. It doesn't feel like that anymore. I actually feel him doing a new thing. I don't know what that thing is, but I actually feel that hope and joy as I'm coming into this new year. So it doesn't feel quite dim as it did. Like I'm just doing all of this in vain, or, you know, all of those lies. I don't entertain those anymore. And also, he's letting me know, like, you're a soldier. You're a soldier on my battlefield. You knew how to fight. When I was a kid, I knew how to fight with the best of them. Okay? I used to fight for fun. But he's like, when the enemy comes to you with those things in your head, and me and my friend were talking about this as well, you're not a punk. So why are you letting him punk you? Why are you letting him feed you lies and you're believing it? It's just like people all my life, like playing me down, or, you know, saying things that are not aligned with I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of doing. So why would I entertain a lie telling me otherwise about my God? That isn't true. So yeah, disappointment comes knocking on your door. And as you enter 2024, I know that it'll be best for you to relinquish those disappointments. Tell God, I'm really sad that you didn't fulfill this thing. I'm really sad that my year didn't look the way it did. But he will restore that expectation in you for something new to happen, for something new to be birthed. When you give him that, though, but you have to take it to his feet. Keep it a buck, okay? Because the Lord is not going to be deceived. Like, keep it a buck with him and let him know how you're truly feeling. And that is what builds relationship and keeps you in connection with him, is your ability to communicate even the hardest things that you think may hurt him. And you're never going to be able to hurt him, and he's not surprised by the way you're feeling. And partially how you feel could be on you. Like for me, I could be angry at him, but it's really projecting. I can be saying I'm disappointed in him when really I'm projecting, because I'm disappointed in myself because I didn't step out in faith and do a lot of the things that he told me to do. So while I'm disappointed in him, he's like, well, that was on you actually, but I'll take it on me. And then I'll do something with it. I'll restore your joy with it. But yeah, I just love the season I'm in. Read 1 Samuel, read Hannah's story if you really need, just a boost of faith, just a regeneration of your faith before you go into this new year. I'm going to be fasting before I go into the new year, just so I can have my mind, my heart, and everything just set on God. Not even a promise, not even anything else, what the year may bring, what I may get out of it, who I may meet. I just want to meet God into 2025. I want to meet God in 2025 before I even get into it. And yeah, like I said, keep it a buck with God, and don't focus on the former things. Focus on the things that are coming forth. Focus on the Father, and everything else will be added unto you. But yeah, even when you think you're behind, you're right on time. Until next time, y'all.